It is that time. You're tuned in into the Best of Rivals podcast. I'm
Sir.
Jordan J. Will. I got Todd EP in the building once again, my brother.
Mhm.
Dog, I gotta talk to you, man.
Oh.
You know, last episode I brought you into the podcast and we were talking
Mhm,
about
mhm.
Liverpool, and then I want to say a week later we got hit with some shocking news. The whole football world. I thought of you immediately. I'm talking about the clock. The era's done. He said he's
Yeah.
going to be gone at the end of the season. How do you feel, Toddy? Like, this is big news right here, bro.
I'd be honest, when I first found out, I cried, bro. Like, real talk. Honestly, just really lost it because I remember discussing with you and a bunch of friends before, and they were like, how long is this Klopp era got? And I thought, with everything considered, we were going to have him till about 2026. I really wouldn't be too surprised after he takes his sabbatical if he decides he wants to go and coach for the German national team, but I didn't think it was going to come out this quickly or this abruptly. Um, what I do find interesting is that it wasn't news to the players. He said that he'd already talked to the players about this. They were aware. And maybe that's why we're doing so well, is because we have something to fight for. Um, but shocking, none the least, bro, because you're seeing this rebuild, with the midfield, and I'm loving the rebuild. I'm seeing Dominic Szoboszlai just be awesome. McAllister just being excellent. Even Endo is just surprising many. Um, Darwin starting to hit form. A lot of positives to be taken from this team. And then Klopp does that, and I don't know, bro. It's heartbreaking because then what almost like I don't even want to think about who the next coach is, but whoever it may be, it's not going to be like Klopp. We're not going to have the same mindset. We're not going to get the same personality. Probably not going to get the same type of ball. Um, it's scary to think about, but I don't think Klopp would leave us in bad hands.
So for me, it's a couple things.
Mm,
One, he's leaving when Liverpool is on, top of the standings right now, right? Top of the table. So that's very telling. It seems like everything is going well. You guys don't really make any noise last year. You know, miss out on the Champions League. But
yeah,
talking to you in that whole process, it's like it's a rebuild. You're finding who who's going to be leading the charge in the future for Liverpool, right? You got a lot of old heads, but you got young talent being pushed through. So
yeah.
him leaving on that note is very telling for me, and that leads me to my second point. I don't think Liverpool is as um, happy and family based as people like to think. I think there's some trouble going on, behind the scenes. If Klopp is leaving at a point right now where you guys could obviously make a splash, you can shake things up. He's
Mm,
saying, I'm done.
yeah,
I've given Liverpool my all. I've gotten the Champions League. I got a Premier League title. I'm going down as a legend, an icon,
yeah.
forever great, right? Very telling. So I don't know, man. This isn't just a manager put in his time. He's been there for years, and then he decides he wants to go. No, this is Klopp, like you said, right? This is like
Hmm.
a pep type of figure, right? When you think of the managers of the past or this generation, this era, you think of Pep, you think of Jose, and you think of Klopp, right? These are the big three. You could essentially say. He's saying I'm done with everything. I don't like that, man. I don't like that. And now the whole narrative of the season really changes, right? Because if Liverpool doesn't, in my opinion, if you guys don't win a title, if you don't
Yeah.
take it, it's the biggest failure. You're right. Klopp's going away party.
It's
This
not
this,
the biggest
this
failure because, in my opinion, we have seen teams like Liverpool in the past, Arsenal last year, where you have a lead, no matter how slender it may be, and of course you want to hold on to it. Man City in that second half of the season, and I've said it once and I'll say it again, they catch up. They catch up. We have everything going against us since the beginning of the season, and I'm proud that we're still even in first. The amount of injuries, letting Salah have to go to the AFCON, comes back with injuries. Um, we just got this rebuild in the midfield. No, I'm not going to lie. I'm not happy about it. I'm not 100% sure why it comes so abruptly, but it
Crazy.
was announced. It was announced ahead of time. Like this was discussed ahead of time. The players are made aware. Um, I'm going to try and stay on the positive side of everything. I really do believe that Klopp may have had a vision of what he wanted to do with Liverpool, and he can't get that. Maybe if that's financially, if that is, um, I can't,
It
I
needs
can't, I can't imagine there's a lack of respect for Klopp in this. But I have to say, I don't like to point fingers. I can't imagine that the Fenway Sports Group has implicated his decision to possibly stay. And maybe if we had different ownership, it might be different. I mean, I know a lot of fans
so
are bothered by that.
so you kind of hit it on the head, right?
Mm,
Like I said, I think there's some rumblings, some things going on behind the scenes.
hmm
And I say that because Klopp has came out and said in ways that you guys have missed out on a lot of transfers, right? A player has picked somebody else over Liverpool, and he's kind of had to just work with what's at him, what's right there.
It's
I
what
think
made him great.
right. But at the same time, he's getting to that point where it's like if Man City just keep getting players right. Arsenal is
Hmm
trying to become that
Yeah.
club. They're just grabbing everybody. I'm fed up with just having to make do what I have, right? Give me players. I'm Klopp. I've given you a title. I've given you two major titles. Why am I still
Well,
being fed this unfair hand?
we have an unfair hand because again, like as you know, there's no money to throw. We can't just, go to John Henry, please give us more money. He's not necessarily going to do that. We're fighting against Man City, one of the wealthiest teams we've ever seen, with frankly, who knows what's going to happen with financial fair play. But what I do know is that no one can compete with that other than maybe PSG on occasion, Real Madrid, blah, blah, blah. The thing is that I can't imagine what else there is. Like Klopp has won everything at Liverpool. He's won every trophy he could possibly win. He won it at least once. With that being said, you look at like the next step, the rebuild of the midfield. Where are they going forward? They've got a lot of questions in the air. Is Mohamed Salah even going to be wearing red next season? Is he even going to be, you know, Mohamed Salah next season? I don't know what we're going to have. We have an over reliance here. And I think Klopp is tired. And I think what he wants to continue, he's not going to be able to get if that's financially possible.
So
But
so the next step for Klopp, and I've said this, you guys can run back the tapes. I don't care. I've said it before, and I think it's just the end game for him, right? For me, he's done everything you can club level wise as a manager.
hmm hmm
What's the next best thing? What country is struggling so much right now, and they are a powerhouse, but recently in the last major tournaments they've been struggling. Germany, and who do they need to come in to save them? Klopp. If he goes to the German national team,
it
he brings them
makes
a Euro
perfect, it
or a
brings
World Cup.
perfect sense for here's the first thing. When he announced retirement, he said two things, right? He said, I'm never going to coach another team in England. Made that very
Mm,
specific. He
mm.
he made sure to say England, not ever again. He said in
Talk it,
England.
Toddy.
So
Talk it,
I do
Toddy.
not believe he's done coaching. He
Yes.
did say the second part was he's taking that sabbatical. He's going to take a year off. Perfect timing. I mean, think about it. He runs 2024 with Liverpool. Hopefully we end strong. Takes his sabbatical. Perfect timing for 2026. Germany national team come the World Cup, which will be in North America. Man, I'm trying to go to a couple of those games, but
We
listen,
both
it makes
are.
sense on all cards. Germany have been disappointing in the past,
Yes.
and now you
Yes.
have exactly what Klopp wants. So much youth, so much talent. Oh my gosh. You have Leroy Sané, when healthy, is one of the best players in the world, in my opinion. You
Facts.
have um you
Jamal
have
Musiala.
you have Musiala, of course, but I'm blanking on the guy from I'm blanking right now on the guy on Leverkusen, bro.
Striker. Forward.
I'm gonna get it right now.
Toddy's going for the facts. He
I
needs it.
gotta get the facts, bro. I gotta get the facts. Florian Wirtz.
Oh, yes. Young
Florian
boy.
Wirtz, bro. Yeah. at the end of the day, Germany has so much talent, but they have been disappointing in the last tournament and the tournament before. You got to see someone as like Klopp and that stature and what he brings to the team personally. I think it would be the greatest thing to happen to the German national team. I think when you look at Germany, they've got a nice bit of youth and a nice bit of veteran experience. This might be Thomas Muller's last time doing anything. And we
Yeah.
look at the numbers in the World Cup. You kind of want them there. You never know. National team ball is crazy. And if there's someone like Klopp, you look at the numbers, the amount of games that Liverpool have been able to come back and win. Oh, how much could Germany use that?
No, I mean, I agree 100%. They need someone that can take charge, obviously, right? And that German team has a lot of young players, so they need someone that can come in, really put them in position, and get the best out of them. Even there's way too much talent for them to be struggling the way they are in major tournaments, right? Way too much talent, and it's really for them positioning and putting in the right pieces. Uh, you know, not rocket science. So I think Klopp coming over would be huge. But I want to also spend something to you. We're talking about Klopp, right?
Hmm.
In Liverpool, and that whole, I guess, just the news, him saying that he's going to leave after the season. A lot of people thought that would give you guys motivation, some inspiration, a little bit more
Yeah.
oomph to, really
Yeah.
take charge in a race, right? But you kind of fumbled 3-1 against Arsenal. None of your big time players are scoring goals. Saka, Martinelli for Arsenal score. Trossard scores as well. How do you feel? I mean, still number one, right? City has a game in hand, obviously. They made some
Yeah.
room as well. But table wise, you're still number one. Arsenal did come in and smack you. Does that really deflate you a little bit, or are you still saying, hey, you guys can take the title?
Well, I'm gonna first start off by saying that congrats to Arsenal. They deserve that win. There's just no debate on that. I have
Yeah.
no excuses. If I'm being completely honest, Luis Diaz's goal, he worked hard, but it was a Saliba error. Um, at the end of the day, that first half was atrocious. It was so tough to watch as a Liverpool fan, as that midfield, we just could not break through. It showed how good Declan Rice can be, who I thought was a great player. Um, it's weird to watch a player like Jorginho get man of the match and then say, "Oh yeah, Liverpool played a good game." That couldn't be. Um, but there's a lot of injuries. I mean, Connor Bradley had tragedy happen in his family the night before. Suddenly, we're playing Trent, who got cooked by Martinelli a few times. Truthfully, Saka scored from a tap in because Havertz doesn't know how to finish. Um, but at the end of the day, no, disappointing across the board. Not much positives to go on. You just gotta hope that it's a fluke. Um, what I do say though is this kind of should open our eyes to we are not like these other title contending teams that we've seen in the past that are fully loaded across. Like you look at Man City, they have everything. At the end of the day, when we played Arsenal, we had no Dominic Szoboszlai, and it
Okay.
showed. Connor Bradley had been good for the last few weeks, and he wasn't there. And then Trent just wasn't back yet. I didn't feel like I really got Trent. Darwin's fighting a foot injury. When he did come on, didn't really get much out of it. We're going in and out of lineups. We're still playing without Salah. Um, if I'm keeping it really honest, I don't even think Arsenal truly had such an amazing game that they could talk like this when really I see two big Allison errors.
Okay.
The ghost of Carius haunted me that day. It was brutal, bro. Like he jumps up and there's a tap from Van Dyke and they squabble it and Martinelli gets to score.
I mean, well,
Okay.
that's a little concerning though. When I mean, Van Dyke obviously has shown,
I gotta think of it as a fluke because you look at how good Van Dyke has been this season, bro. He hasn't been dribbled around in the entire season. People are talking about, oh, he's got his form back.
but
Before
but
that game against Arsenal, we were talking about Allison having a great season. That happened to be a fluke.
but
It just feels like a fluke.
I don't know, man. I kind of disagree with the Virgil take only because Virgil did struggle kind of to start the season, right? We saw the chinks in his armor. He was kind of getting older, moving a little bit slower. And then he did kind of find a form, right? But that comes with experience and age and just knowing how to play the game. But what I'm saying is he's still not the
Ah.
Virgil. He's not that Virgil like he used to be on the field.
Statistically, he's pretty close. That's what we know. We know from this season so far. Yes, Arsenal game was not great. I'm considering it a fluke, but at the end of the day, he's been much better informed than what we saw last year, and I think there's a reason we're in first place technically still. But if Liverpool want to actually consider themselves title contenders, you need to
Yeah,
start thinking of yourself in second place because Man City have won the last 5 Premier League games in a row. They've got a game in hand, and they're only 2 points out.
I mean, I think
I mean,
that's a perfect segue in my opinion. Um, for the next I think topic at hand, and
yeah,
that's obviously Phil Foden hat trick. KDB is like, I mean, he's been back since he got
he's
back,
lights
right?
out. He came back, and it was like nothing. He's
Yeah,
been perfect right from the jump.
got to assist, but I
Right from
mean
the jump.
the crossing for Foden in the box,
Hmm.
that pass was just amazing. Like you said, I think Liverpool should take that um that idea that they are in second place in the table,
Yeah,
only because Man
yeah.
City looks like they're unstoppable right now. If
It's almost concerning how unconfident I am at Liverpool to be able to come back from second to first when that happens because one thing that I noticed big out of that Man City game is that Erling Haaland missed chances. And when Erling Haaland missed chances, I'd be the first to be like, well, that's how we that's how you stop Man City, is you just got to hope he doesn't get on form.
but
But then
but this
someone like
season,
Foden decides,
yeah, this season's different though. You're right, because you just hit it right. Holland, for all all concerns and like what people believe, he probably having not so much of a good season, right? Compared to last season at least.
well,
Where he's still
well,
scoring goals,
injuries and stuff. So
right. But the others like Foden, Alvarez, they've stepped up to, such an extent. Especially Foden, right? He's shown every year to me at least that he's a top player in the league, top player in the world class,
Foden
right?
needs to be playing every minute under Southgate when I see matches like this.
And we all know that. We all know that personally. But it's crazy that he has to constantly remind people, right, that he's that good and he's that great. I believe 8 goals right now, 7 assists, something around that mark. Same as Saka, and that's always going to be the comparison. Who's better between the two? You know who I'm rocking with, and I think he's constantly showing because he's doing it on a winning level too. I'm not big on empty goals, empty stats. I'm not
He's
saying that's what Saka
20
does.
he's 23 years old. Phil Foden is 23 years old. And I don't think there's a person who follows football who's going to call him overrated. I think Phil
Those chances,
Foden,
they were
Phil
being
Foden
thrown.
to me is the reincarnate of David Silva. And I'm
Ooh,
going to be the first to
ooh.
say it. He is when David Silva left Man City and retired. Well, he didn't retire right away, but when he left Man City, Phil Foden aged up and has been so good. You forget he's 23 years old.
And this is where I think we need to really look in and dive and talk about it, right? When you talk about English players,
Mm,
right, you never compare them to Spanish players, and I guess in any regard. So for you to
yeah.
say that Foden reminds you of, David,
David Silva,
Silva
yeah.
reincarnated, that's high praise. Um, and I guess the only player right now, English wise, that you could also say, he has, I guess, other comparisons outside of his nationality is Jude Bellingham. That clutching, the passes he's doing,
What
you
he's doing at Real Madrid is amazing. And he is the one time where I will say £100 million man is worth his price tag. I've said this before. Prices get inflated, but Jude Bellingham has been worth every pound. Um, for Real Madrid, it's been absolutely phenomenal. But I don't know who to compare him to because
you could
there's
take,
no
bro.
one really at Real Madrid that really hits to me like Bellingham. I mean, people tried to link him to Zinedine Zidane.
That's who
They
I
don't
that's who,
play.
that's who comes to mind for me, bro. Just like when I say controlling that midfield, the clutch gene, being in the right moment at the right time. affects
I
every
don't
part of the
know.
game, bro. It's very much so a very valid
He's
comparison.
so good all around. That's what I think impresses me most about Jude Bellingham is how he is so good all around game. Um, when I brought up Phil Foden and David Silva, I just saw you see the shiftiness, the left
Hmm.
foot, the
Hmm.
edge, the agility to kind of break into spaces, find the right play, and he's just so smart off the ball. He's so smart off the ball as well. Um, so when I see players that we're talking about English talents, when we're talking about Jude Bellingham, when we're talking about Phil Foden and how good these are, I know there's one guy you want to talk about on Man U recently, Kabi, Kabi Mainu.
Brother.
The hype is it's up there right now on him. But what's interesting about him is come this Euro, come this World Cup, he's kind of entering the fold at a very, very interesting time because the position he plays, he reminds me of Pogba. He has moments, his creativity is there, he's got a lot of talent. It's just, is it overhype?
So yeah, let me dive into this. And as a Man United fan, I feel like I'm very objective. So when it
Yeah.
comes to our academy boys, our star boys,
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
am really patient when it comes to this praise, right? Garnacho comes to mind for me. I told people when we were laying the claim that he was the next Messi, Ronaldo reincarnated. All these comparisons. Calm down. I'm not saying that
Oh yeah.
Garnacho. I'm not saying that Garnacho isn't good, right? Or he can't reach some
He's
heights.
not that. He's not that. I'm no.
But do you feel me? Let the kid come into his own first, right?
Mm.
I'm looking at Kabi right now. The kid is fucking amazing. For me, what stands out is the composure, right? He's 18, 19
Yes.
years old, but he plays like he's a fucking 27-year-old vet.
I will see him get the ball in his own third and have
Yes.
the composure to hold it, and discipline a midfield. It's beautiful.
It's
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 beautiful
amazing, right?
play.
It's amazing. And then, I'd always take note of like the clutch gene. So him getting that game winning goal on his own, that's all
With
him
the
just creating.
nutmeg. With the nutmeg, bro.
Filthy, right? Filthy. But this is where I come in and have
Mm.
to remind people because
Oh.
I've been seeing all the comparisons.
You're
I've I
telling him to
sent
simmer down. You want him to simmer down.
you even mentioned that he reminds you of Paul Pogba, right?
He does.
Right, right. I see similarities as well, but then I'm seeing tweets online saying that Kabi's already a way better Man United player than what Paul was, and that's for me is that's where I say draw, calm down, because are we living in a moment or are we not thinking about what really happened in the past?
I
Paul,
think we're forgetting that Paul Pogba really hasn't done too much for Man United.
but even in his stint, Todd, what Bruno is doing right now and the
Hmm.
offense dedicated, like really meant for him. He's
Hmm.
playing up the field as a midfielder, right?
Hmm.
Paul was playing way further back, and he's putting up the same stats in a shitty team. He was leading the charge. Still has a Premier League record, I believe, what 4 assists, 5 assists in one game, or something crazy. Like he was he
Yeah,
was
but he to
he he
me is a
he. But
lot like he's like Mario Balotelli. It's too much to the head. You
so
too many people told you how great you are, and
yes,
at the end of the day, it wasn't the first time that we heard that he might not have been the best person to have in the locker room. I mean, I don't know where the mindset was at, but at the end of the day, it's
so,
another talent that we see leave Manchester United and kind of fade.
oh no, 100%, 100% right. But what I'm saying is, let's calm down with these comparisons. Who's better than who? Kabi Mano is an amazing player right now for Man United. He's a breath of fresh air, right? Like something we needed, right? A
Is it too?
homebred.
Or do you think it's too early to tell? Do you think this is long term success we're going to see from him? Is this good form? Because
This is
we've had times this season where McTominay looks like one of the best midfielders at times, and then the dust settles and we come back to
Todd,
reality.
Todd, Todd. It is. What I'm saying is, this is great for us. but let's calm down. Unfortunately, being a part of Man United, what we do is we really drag it, bro. So I'm saying that Southgate has to really consider putting Jude Bellingham, Phil
Hmm.
Foden, and Kobbie
Hmm.
Mino in the midfield together. What has Kobbie done, to warrant such a honor? When Phil Foden doesn't wait, listen to me. When Phil Foden doesn't even get that on a regular basis, right? You feel me? He may put in
It's the
Calvin Phillips,
position. It's the position. At the end of the day, do you want Jordan Henderson back in that midfield? No. Okay. You know Jude Bellingham's going
but
in that midfield.
but but
You know that Mason Mount's not going
but
in that
my
midfield anymore.
Todd,
You know that
but
Jadon Sancho's probably not going in that midfield
but
right now.
this is the English problem though. You are setting that kid up for failure. Because what's going to happen? He's 17, he's 18. You put him in the Euros. They go up against Spain, whoever it is, right? He gets
Hmm.
smacked. He misses a penalty, whatever it is, and then you know what English do? They destroy
I
him.
get it.
He's not.
I get it.
Come on,
He's
man.
not, but the thing is that the greats have to deal with that pressure. And if he is that, you have the Euros right now. If I'm Southgate and I need to pick my team, I might not pick Kabi Mano, wow, to start. I might not pick Kabi to start, but he's certainly making my team because when I look at what else I have to choose from,
Yeah.
Mason Mount is not going to be who I pick, and they're both on the same team. Jadon Sancho's not who I'm going to pick right now. I might pick him for the winger spot off the bench, but when we're looking in that holding midfield roles, I see England's best chance at having a most quality midfield right now would be those three, you know? And I like Harvey Elliott coming into that team. I like Curtis Jones coming into that team. But other than
Of
Phil
course you
Foden and
do.
Jude
Of
Bellingham,
course you do.
other than Jude Bellingham and Phil Foden, there's no real midfielders stick. Oh, Declan Rice. It's got to be Declan Rice. It's got to be Declan Rice. It's got to be Declan Rice. It's got to be. I feel I need to apologize sincerely to Arsenal fans for forgetting about our boy. Our boy.
Wait,
Cut that out.
Todd, you are basically proving my point. That's what I'm saying. The talent, especially with the English team, is crazy, right? There should
Yeah.
be no reason why Kobbie, and it's only because he's a Man United player, and we are pushing this narrative and this agenda like we have a golden boy right now too. It's fine that we
Hmm.
don't. Marcus Rashford wasn't it, right? Garnacho isn't it. Kobbie could be potentially, but let him let's let him decide and make his own future and not put that pressure on him. He's too young, bro. He's too young, and I just don't think it's fair. It's not fair to him at all. The kid has not even played
It
five
doesn't
games in
matter
a row
what's
starting.
it's not mattering about what's fair, it's about what's necessary. And what might be necessary is that they might want to take him to the Euros. Again, after we just discussed it, I think it's Phil Foden, Jude Bellingham, Declan Rice. You got Declan controlling the midfield defensively. You've got Jude Bellingham being good at everything he does, and Phil Foden can go and cook. Um,
But would Southgate do it? And that's the question. We
But
all
I,
know.
I gotta say, I don't think we would even discuss Mano if there were other better options available to choose from outside of those first three that we just named. I see no reason for him to be put on the bench. I don't believe at 17 or 18 that is too much responsibility for him to at least be able to go to the Euros. I feel bad that it took Phil Foden this long to get this much respect.
So so
But at the
so
end of the
so
day,
let me ask you this then, because like this is what I'm saying, right? I'm being objective here. I agree. Kobbie has done amazing things when he's been granted the opportunity to start, right?
for a short period of
Or
time.
right. Rico Lewis, though, another name I can mention, who has shown
Yeah,
us,
yeah.
right, that he warrants a start or consideration more than Kobbie. He's done it more. He's
I would be
won
amazed, but
more.
I would be amazed if he didn't get that as well. I'm on the exact same boat with Rico Lewis. Rico Lewis starts plenty of games at Man City. He puts in good work, and he's
Really
young.
good work.
I completely agree. But is he not? Is he a right? He's a left back.
Plays left back, but he can play CDM. He can, You can put him in.
How many other options you got? You got Ben Chilwell takes a hangnail and he's out for 6 weeks. You got Luke Shaw, the exact same thing.
So you're saying, we'll see. We'll see. I
Listen,
am.
if I know that if Ben Chilwell's healthy, I feel like he's going to be picked for that England squad. I think if Kyle Walker's healthy, you pick Kyle Walker. You want the veteran experience on the right.
Yeah.
Um, I think at the end of the day, Rico Lewis doesn't start for England. He's respectable, but I think if Ben Chilwell's healthy, they're going to want to take Ben Chilwell. And I think Rico Lewis deserves a call. I think Joe Gomez deserves a call for how good Joe Gomez has been being able to play at left back for that much. I don't think that's going to happen when it comes to the actual starters, but these are players who are kind of fitting into that possibilities.
Does
Um,
does James Ward-Prowse get a call, or is he?
no, no. The reason why is because West Ham, frankly, like he came out of the box really nice with West Ham. At the end of the day, they haven't won in I think their last four Premier Leagues. They haven't caught a dub, and it's kind of like Jared Bowen. I think Jared
Yeah.
Bowen's a great player. Does Jared Bowen go to play for England? And for me, I'm not sure he does. I think there's a
Okay.
lot of options. I think Saka is still the golden boy. Um, as a Liverpool fan, if it was up to me, I would really love to see Trent Alexander-Arnold get playing time, given how talented he is offensively. But I think we also know that Southgate isn't the absolute biggest fan of having that possible difficulty in the back,
Yeah.
and you certainly don't want him to be your right back. Not right now defensively to deal with that. I'd go Kyle Walker, but I'd want Trent on the team because of what he brings: creativity.
Yeah.
He
No, I know what
brings
you mean.
he brings the final thing you might need to make that difference.
Yeah.
But I gotta be honest, I think England are gonna disappoint again because you just have kind of all over the place with things going on talent wise, on and off controversy. You have some of your stars playing out of the same system. I mean, Harry Kane looks amazing at Bayern Munich. Let's see how Harry Kane will return in an England jersey with the rest of the team.
I don't think no one's really surprised that Harry's going crazy over there in Germany. It's not. I'm not gonna say it's not
It
the
really
toughest
isn't.
league,
It really, yeah,
but
it's not really a surprise.
you know,
But
um, but I mean, you
you
do make
know,
a solid point. Go ahead.
going off of like futures, I'm gonna kind of spin back to Manu. We talked a lot about Kabi, and that's great. I want to talk about what has to be your wallpaper. You saw it, the three boys, Garnacho, Kabi, and
Hoyland.
Hoyland. Hoyland is really, really impressive. That's someone that, if I'm a Man United fan, that's someone I'm kind of excited to watch grow. He looks really good. People get very excited to discuss Kabi, very excited about Garnacho, very excited about Hoyland. I think people are forgetting the other holes in that team. That midfield, outside of Bruno Fernandes,
Yeah.
weak. I think Lissandro Martinez is your best defender, and he's out again for another 8 weeks. Another significant injury.
Yeah.
Lucky for you guys, it's nothing too as it's not as bad as expected, but nonetheless, I see an injury prone center back right here. Onana, I don't know what to expect, honestly. Um, Dala sometimes maybe good. Yeah, I think people are so happy to see the bright spots to the team that they forget the shadowy spots.
Yeah.
Oh, Kabi's really good. Okay, well, who else? Bruno, good. McTominay, Rashford, sometimes on form, sometimes not. I think what Man United fans, what I would want to discuss and what I want to know from you is now that you've seen a little bit better form, you're seeing a little bit more of the good side of to come. Where do you sit with Eric Ten Hag now, with everything kind of starting to settle and things starting to look a little brighter? Man United currently sit now in sixth place, still technically in the running, I think, for a top four. It's looking positive, would you not say?
In ways, yes, but I need to know if Ten Hag is going to be firm on his decisions, right?
Mm,
Something that he has failed to realize, in his 10 years as Man United manager is that a lot of his decisions aren't panning out. One of them was Anthony. I think he's come to realization, that he, for one, isn't a starter on Man United. He should not be seeing the pitch against any top teams. Just not good enough. So what does he then do? He starts giving Garnacho more minutes. And what is he doing? Performing. Young hope,
hmm
academy
hmm
boy, someone who I think, and he's in this weird predicament too, right? Like I hate that as a club, we don't really let our players, especially our young ones, time to grow and develop. They're always just thrown in the limelight. So unfortunately for him, he is the Man United starter right now. Should he be? No. Is he going to perform and have good games? Yes. Is he better than Anthony? Yes. But that's what we're working with right now, right? So Ten Hag has kind of figured that out, put Anthony to the side. But then,
You already talk about Anthony like he's a done and dusted failure.
oh, he's done, bro. He's Todd.
He's 23 years
Todd.
old.
Todd. No,
He's
no, 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 no.
23 years old.
Todd, let me tell you. We have to have the same energy, the same, discuss that we have for every player in Man United who doesn't perform or achieve
Mm.
expectations in a timely manner. So Jadon Sancho was crucified by the managers, particularly Ten Hag, right? Just saying how he does not perform well, he doesn't train, blah blah blah.
But I think that's the bigger point is what you just kind of skipped there: the not training, the lack of focus, the
But but
partying.
but Todd, this is what I'm saying. It has to be the same accountability and standards, right? Because Anthony isn't performing at all. Like he's doing something in training, I guess, right? But when that's not translating to the pitch, and we should stop
hmm
saying he smacks on the hands. Oh, he'll get it together next game. He had one goal in this whole season, and it was against a League Two, I believe, team, bro. And the man celebrated like it was the World Cup. He's trash, right? And then you say partying. Ten Hag is trying to Marcus Rashford. That's the second one.
Yeah, yeah.
And
That
and
one,
and
that one, that was very odd to me. I was
so
very. If I'm Jadon Sancho, I'd be.
so hear me out. Ten Hag is facing a problem because Marcus Rashford he's almost as big as the brand. It seems like with Man United, he's protected. He's the golden boy over there. You know,
I'm
he
tired
went
of
out.
it. I'm
No,
tired
listen.
of it. I hate to say it. He had one good season. His best season is not even better than Salah's worst in a red
So
shirt. The man is 26 years old. This is not like you're starting to talk about. We're talking about his prime. Prime. I,
so these are the tough decisions. Like you asked me, like, isn't it good? Doesn't it seem like it's going somewhere? Bright spot wise, yes. Hoyland, Kabi, Garnacho, right?
oh
They're
yeah,
performing, right?
yeah.
But when it comes to the pivotal pieces, the Marcus Rashford, he should not be part of Man United anymore. I don't know what you have to do, who you have to talk to, but get what you can for him and get him out. He's
It's
not.
not going
He's
to
gonna.
happen. It's never. That's never going to happen, Jordan. You know that's never going to happen. The business side behind it, they've invested too much. You can't throw 100 million at Anthony and then expect to get anything for him, and they're not going to let him go for free.
So
At 23 years old, you do have to try and hopefully create something from it. You got to try and
if
create something
if
from it.
if you kick out, in my opinion, the greatest player of all time. You
hmm
shun him, you say he did this, he was against the
hmm hmm
club, whatever, right? That means that anyone can be got. Marcus Rashford has not done anything in his career to warrant, I don't care how much money Man United has put in him, he hasn't done a damn thing for us to say that he's untouchable. Get that boy out of here because if he stays, we won't win shit. Period.
I don't think you're going to be offered enough from anybody to warrant getting rid of the talent that he could produce. Jordan, at the end of the day, he still shows moments in the Premier League this season. He'll still have moments where you'll go, okay, that's the Rashford we've seen before.
But Todd,
You want more consistent.
when do we say that's not enough though, bro? Like we
Well, then that's where my question to you about Eric Ten Hag comes is, we're talking about all this with everything going on. He's been given a lot of time. And, you've got sixth place and a bunch of questions, a few bright spots, starting to brighten up a little bit, but a lot's already been lost. Do you really let go of Rashford given what he means to the club, what he means to the fans, how deep it goes? He's well liked. He I don't see this happening. Jordan, if it was me and if I was a Man U fan, which I'm not, I love watching you guys struggle, but if I actually was wanting to see you guys not struggle, I'd want to see someone try to implement a leader into Rashford's head.
dog, it's Todd. We're at the point now where that's long gone, right? If Marcus
I,
Rashford continues to be part of
26 years old. It's not long gone, bro. It's not over for him. It's not over. Like, there's been players that go up and down on form. Some just turn it back on and just surprise. I think Marcus Rashford needs to get his head on straight. But I think he heard his final, if hopefully he heard his final warning. And that's kind of where it has to be. If he gets caught partying again, then as a Man U fan, I would expect you to be like, what's different? Why is this being allowed, but Jadon Sancho kicked to the curb? That's when I would be like, okay, Jordan makes a fair point. But I think Eric Ten Hag is also starting to suffer from the fact that, like, look, you let Ronaldo go when you shouldn't have.
you
You
bury Varane on the bench when you shouldn't
You
have.
also,
Like, come
Sancho
on,
is too
bro.
talented. Watching what Sancho's doing at Borussia Dortmund shows that it's always been there, but you didn't know how to handle him.
No, and that's the crazy part, Toddy. I watched with my own two eyes when he
Hmm.
played Sancho. He clearly affected and impacted the game way more than anybody outside of Bruno Fernandes. I can argue that, right? He was creating, getting the thing that Hoyland needs right now. Casemiro
Mm.
is the first person to assist him in a Premier League. Casemiro, you feel me? You have Bruno Fernandes,
But
Mister
that's
Assisty.
why I hate to say it. That's why I look at Garnacho and I do feel that that is still a little overhyped. Even when Garnacho has two goals recently, and
Yes,
even
yes,
when he
I
does
agree,
some bright
Brody.
stuff, I hate to say it. I don't see enough from Garnacho to warrant the hype on that. When I watch Hoyland, I watch a kid who just is so passionate about it. He's got physical attributes. He's strong.
He
I
does
see
everything
something
right,
there.
bro. His vision's amazing.
Yeah,
He can pass the ball. He plays like a
when
team
I
player. There's too many
when
selfish
I
players
see
outside of that
that,
on United.
I love that. But when I heard Casemiro, it blew my mind. It blew my mind because I was like, then Garnacho's not doing everything right. There's
Well, I mean,
problems out there's problems. I mean, this should not be to the point where you're having Garnacho to have to score two so you can beat West Ham.
dude, we have way too many glory hunters on that squad right now, right? Hoyland, Kabi are two of the only players that actually play for that club. The patch, and they obviously play just for the team, right? Hoyland for me has been amazing. He first
Hmm.
came on, and I made the comparison. I was like, Man City is what Hoyland's like is what Man City wants Holland to be like. And people are like, what? Wait, what are you talking about? That's crazy. That's insane. Holland scoring goals. And I'm like, no, I'm not talking about the goal scoring part. I'm talking about doing everything else. Hoyland's amazing off the ball. His vision is amazing. He's
It
always
is.
active, right? That's
Yeah,
what you want
yeah.
Holland to do, but Holland kind of gets stuck in, like a deer, I don't know, in headlights
I think that's
sometimes.
Pep's system. What I find interesting about the Pep
Yeah.
system that I do kind of have to disagree with you is that Holland is the often the guy with the least amount of touches and he's the one with the most amount of goals. In Pep's system, he should be the last guy touching the ball. When I
Yeah.
look at Eric Ten Hag's system, the amount of times I see Hoyland come up and play target man and then have to drop back or just rush job or just work so hard off the ball, it's not necessarily the same thing that I see from Holland because it doesn't have to be. Holland's in a more perfected system. It must be nice getting passes from KDB and Foden every single game. Right now, Hoyland's got Casemiro. Like, respectfully, it's not.
It's
I
levels.
really do mean this. I think, if Hoyland was in a different system, we'd see even more improved numbers. I think that's the good shining moment, though, is that Hoyland's still producing with not getting as much um, product in return. He's not getting as much, response. I think if I'm Man U, I really worry about this defense. With Lissandro injured, you lost a leader. You might have to play Harry Maguire. You talk about playing for the badge. At least he plays for the badge. He might not play well in it, but he does play for the badge.
The guy almost gave up a goal last game. I don't want to hear the Harry Maguire redemption story that everyone's trying to say. You know,
Well, speaking of redemption stories, let's talk about Chelsea for a second. We're talking so much smack about Eric Ten Hag and how much treatment. An interesting stat that I discovered: 31 games now for Mauricio Pochettino. 31 games. That is the exact same amount as Graham Potter had before he got sacked. When Graham Potter was sacked, he was sacked while being in 11th place. Pochettino sits in 11th place, and they look terrible. He had to come out and apologize and just say, we're terrible. It's you got your own fans screaming, we're shit. You got two midfielders on your starting 11, two midfielders who are both 9 digits. 100 million pound Enzo, 125 million Moises Caicedo. For
and
what?
their best player is Cole Palmer right now.
And
Yeah,
their best player is Cole Palmer. It's terrible.
Chelsea is paying a debt. Karma likes to hit a lot of people, and the way they did Tuchel after him, gifting them a Champions League, it's always going to bite them in the what. And you've seen since that point, right? The managers they brought along, all these buys, just throwing
Mm-hmm.
money like it's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
They have no direction. So Poach
Is
can
the
come in.
criticism warranted? Do you believe the criticism is warranted for Pochettino? Is this Pochettino's fault? Who's to blame here? How many
Oh
coaches have
yes,
come in? How much money has been spent?
yeah. No. I'm not going to say that Poach isn't enough. No, yes, he took this job. He went in knowingly that Chelsea was a very, very terrible club right now, in a bad
Yeah,
situation, right? And we
yeah,
were banking on the
yeah.
fact that he has taken clubs like Spurs, right? Won at PSG, in that week of a league. We're banking on the fact that he's poached and he should do something with all this money and all these world
But
class players, right?
31 games, and he has like two more wins, maybe three, both sitting in 11th place. You let Graham Potter go after 31 matches, and now we're going to let Pochettino stay because he's got a better track record? What? What track
Well,
record? What
when
track record? It's
but
again, it comes to the point where I'm like,
it's
they're playing so bad, and there's too much talent on there for me to not want to blame the manager as well at some point. It's just
because
there's no
Todd,
system.
because they're all living like kings. You threw all this money, hundreds of millions of dollars, these players who are now comfortable. They have nothing to prove, and they're playing in London, bro. You feel me?
Hmm. Hmm.
They're like that's Chelsea's problem. Just like they are the PSG of the English league. You want to know
So
why?
do you really believe that giving this much money off this early has affected these top star talents to
Yes,
not?
yes, bro. There is no sense of club at Chelsea. It's essentially we think you're a world class player. We're gonna give you this max contract, right? Give you all this money so you don't have to go anywhere and you don't have to prove anything to us. That's what they said. That's what they said. They when they
It's
when
an
they
interesting thing because when I look at this Chelsea team, I don't know if this is just me being like foolish. I never, ever, ever seem to like the starting lineup. I see only a couple positives in this team, and those couple positives should start as many games if they can. But Nkunku, when healthy, and he scores.
yeah
They'll go and lose 4-1, he'll score. as a substitute. And you'll just sit there like, man, they must miss him. But then it's like Cole Palmer, okay, he makes a couple penalties. He has a few good moments. Okay, Cole Palmer should play. Why does Raheem Sterling start on this team? Why does Disasi start on this team still? It's so bad. I think it gets to the point where I got to start questioning if you are the Chelsea board, Jordan, do you give Pochettino, Eric Ten Hag time to, I mean, truly try to fix this dumpster fire of a team? Or do you already want to kind of like, ugh, and then just brush it off, start again, try again?
So my question is, Chelsea would have to do essentially the impossible this season, and that's
Yeah.
not winning the Premier League, but winning a title. And I think they are still in the FA Cup, correct?
Well, they're going to be in the English League Cup final against Liverpool.
Right? So there you go. If Poach somehow manages to win a title and pull a shocker and
That
shows
shit's
that
not going to happen. That's not going to happen. I'm letting you know right now that's not going to happen.
Listen,
happen.
and show there's some sense of hope, right? That Chelsea has found it out, figured it out, and they're going to go and be a great team. Then yes, he will get that Eric Ten Hag time. That's what Eric Ten Hag did.
How long is that going to be? We're sitting at 23 games played. We got 15 games left. Do you give him the final 15?
That's what I'm saying. It depends on what they do and play outside of the Premier League.
I think that's dangerous. I think most Chelsea fans truly believe that they're likely to lose to Liverpool in the EFL Cup final, right? And then after that, there's no Chelsea fan in the world who's dumb enough to actually believe they're making top 4. And I think it's already a stretch to see them even making top 7.
So what are you saying about the
Europa
FA
League?
Cup then?
I don't think that matters. I mean, we've seen managers win the FA Cup and then still get hacked. If it's me, I think you have to look at your mistakes that you've made in the past. Maybe we shouldn't have let Tuchel go the way we did. Ooh,
Right.
Maybe we shouldn't have thrown Graham Potter to the curb after 31 matches. Pochettino deserves to have the time to try to create something of this team. This is his first season, and it is a disappointment. A lot of coaches' first season is a disappointment. It's not like Klopp's first season at Liverpool, he just made us great overnight. I think you got to give a coach time to try to install his system. And with that many players that you're willing to give 8 years with no guarantee of what you're going to get in return, I think it's only fair that you kind of be willing to give the manager a chance to do something with this team with at least the rest of the season. But it's looking bleak. Like
I don't see Chelsea making top 4 at all. I don't see them making any noise. I don't even see them coming close to top 5, right?
I don't see them making top 7. I look at the top 6 teams right now. You can't tell me you think they're better than Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, Aston Villa, Tottenham, or even Man United. And I think the Man U game, y'all might have a tie.
Well, you did mention a squad that I'm very curious about. They're ahead of us right now in the standings. Tottenham.
Excuse me.
Started out very strong, right? Top of the league. Then kind of get hit, obviously, doing the Tottenham thing. I think they're sitting at number 5 right now?
They're sitting in 5th right now, 44 points, 2 points behind Aston Villa.
Do you think they make top 4? What's your?
I do. I really do. I'm not a Tottenham fan, but I'm a fan of how they're conducting business right now. January transfer market was absolutely pointless. Other than Tottenham, no one really did anything. But Tottenham went and bolstered that defense again. As a fellow Romanian, I love seeing Radu play in the Premier League. It's going to be good for the country come the Euros. Radu Dragusin is one of the strongest defenders you're going to find in the Premier League. He is very underrated. He was great at Genoa. He is quality. And Ange Postecoglou, if I said that right, I hope so.
Sounds pretty good to me.
He knows what he's doing. Because the second player that needs to be discussed is Mickey van der Ven. Fastest player in the Prem. This guy is so good, and he hasn't been healthy the whole season. They started out of the box hot, and now you've got players coming back in form. Listen, Tottenham have been having to play without Hyun-Min Song for weeks.
Yeah. Well,
And
he'll
I
be
think
back.
that there is
I mean, he'll
something to
be
be
back.
said about that. We're talking about over reliances. They lost Harry Kane last year. You have Hyun-Min Song gone to the Asian Cup, and you're still talking about possibly finishing top four. If I'm a Tottenham fan, I'm very happy with everything. You got James Maddison back healthy. You got Mickey van der Ven healthy, one of the best Premier League defenders in the world, in my opinion, criminally underrated. You've got Dragushin, who's just ready to shine. You got Pedro Porro, who has his moments.
Yeah.
Hyunmin Song's going to come back into that lineup. He's going to be nice with it. James Madison's back in the lineup. He's nice with it. They have pieces. They've got a strong coach. I like their chances. I really like their chances. The only thing is Aston Villa. I don't believe Man U can make that top four. I do believe it's Aston Villa's to lose, but they are losing it. In
So
the last 5 Premier League games, they have only 2 wins.
so this thank you for that great you know analysis on why you think Spurs will probably make top four, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you mentioned a lot of good things. James Madison being back, I think. I mean, affects them really, really, really well because when he started off the season, he was cooking, and then got hurt. Got hurt, unfortunately, right?
Yeah.
But then you bring up Austin Villa. I was gonna ask you, you know, who is your biggest surprise player so far, right? In the Prem, I got mine for you, and you mentioned
Mm.
it when you brought up Austin Villa because I think this person shocked me, right? Not because he hasn't been a threat in his Premier League stint so far, but Ollie
Mm-hmm.
Watkins, bro. Ollie Watkins is not only scoring goals, but he's also assisting. I think he's the only
Oh,
player in
he's
the Prem
great.
with
Oh,
10
he's
goals and 10
great.
assists, right?
He's
10 goals and
great.
10 assists. That is crazy to me. And they're competing. Top 14
Oh
right
yeah.
now. You know what
Oh
I
yeah.
mean?
They wouldn't be there had it not
Without
been
him.
Ollie Watkins on the form that he's on. But I gotta tell you, it's funny, we talk about Ollie Watkins and we didn't even discuss him for England. Didn't
We
bring him
didn't.
up.
We didn't.
Didn't
You
bring him
see,
up.
which is crazy. And I think
You know
Southgate
what?
has.
No, no, no. I'm gonna stop you right there. You know what? I would rather play Watkins out of position before playing Rashford. I would. It should be Harry Kane. It should be Ollie Watkins. And if you want Phil Foden on one side or something, great. If you want Saka on one side, great. But Watkins has to be in this team. If it's the backup striker, fine. I don't pick him. I pick him over Ivan
So
Tony.
so so if Aston Villa they fall out top four, top five, does
Mm.
Southgate still select Ollie Watkins for the national team?
Yes,
Is
and
that
he should. He should because respectfully, nobody expected Austin Villa to be here. This is
no?
the thing that people need to remember. We have teams that even if Liverpool don't win the title this year, I would still be very proud at the fact that we went from fifth to second with a midfield regen. At the end of the day, if you're an Austin Villa fan, and I told you at the beginning of the season, hey, you want your team to get fifth place this year, you'd have broken my hand happy as hell. It's a fact. You would have. You would have. Leon Bailey is crazy good right now. Ollie Watkins is just phenomenal all over the pitch. So good, so dangerous. Aerial battles won. He's getting assists. He's getting goals. He's playing off the field, off the ball. So strong. But at the end of the day, if they were to lose fourth place to a Tottenham team with everything I just mentioned,
Yeah.
I think Aston Villa would need to remember, like, there are levels to this, and this is a great improvement from where you are.